Over the past few months, at least 10 European countries have reported violations of their airspace by unmanned aerial vehicles. Romania, Poland, Denmark, Finland, Norway, France, Germany, Lithuania, Estonia and Belgium all have become targets of Russian drones. And while European leaders anxiously debate whether they should shoot down hostile drones, while NATO command centers calculate whether doing so might lead to escalation, Ukrainians are showing what true heroism looks like. So now it's time to draw a critically important parallel between Ukrainians who unarmed threw themselves in front of Russian tanks and NATO countries equipped with the most powerful air defense systems in the world, yet still hesitant to press the button. This is more than just a parallel, this is a mirror. In the city of Bakhmut, at the onset of the Russian invasion, a local resident, Serhiy Shevchenko, attempted to stop an entire column of Russian tanks with his bare hands.
The wife says, "There are tanks there? A whole column." I grabbed my bike and ran here as fast as I could.
This is not a scene from a movie. This is Ukraine, and the man who heard that enemy forces had entered his town didn't hide, didn't run, didn't wait for orders from above. He got on his bicycle and rode straight toward the tanks to stop them with his body, with his bare hands, unarmed, against a column of Russian military vehicles.
So I got really fired up, you know? They started moving, one of them took off, so I threw my bike onto the second tank. The tank ran right over it and kept going. The next one was coming, so I threw my bike onto the second tank again. But on the third one, I actually jumped on the tank, hopped up, thinking, all right, I'm gonna stop this. I grabbed the cannon, climbed onto the tank, and that's when it finally stopped.
Who are you, the people in offices who still can't bring yourselves to shoot down a single drone over a peaceful European city? Who are you, the ones who look away and say, we need more time, let's not provoke, let's avoid escalation? While a Ukrainian man leaps onto the armor of an enemy tank, you hesitate to press a button on an air defense system while he throws his bicycle under the tracks. You weigh political risks, and the world watches, and history records. Similarly, in a village in the Chernihiv region, an elderly resident managed to stop Russian tanks without a weapon. The man simply blocked their path with a milk truck and then walked out to face the occupying soldiers head-on. The moment was captured on video by a neighbor of the local hero.
Those bastards are shooting to keep him from getting close.
The crew of the Russian tanks stood there for a long time, bewildered by what was happening. Despite the myth peddled about the Russian world being welcomed in Ukraine as a liberation, ordinary people were ready to risk their lives, placing themselves in front of heavy armor to keep the Kremlin scourge out of their peaceful Ukrainian towns. This man was not a soldier, not a parade hero. He simply knew that if he did not act, no one else would. And what do you know? While Ukrainians are using their own bodies to shield Europe, Europe has not the right but the duty to do more than express concern. It must act, because while someone throws themselves at a tank, others still cannot bring themselves to shoot down a single drone. The next story is about a heroic woman. At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, when the Russian occupiers entered the Ukrainian town of Henichsk, Svetlana Pankova dared to approach one of the Russian servicemen. The woman addressed the occupier with the words, "You came onto my land, you are occupiers, and from this moment, cursed, put sunflower seeds in your pocket so that they will sprout when you lie here."
Які вчення? Ви що, росіяни?
Да.
Якого тут робите?
Ну, сейчас наш с вами разговор ни к чему не приведет.
Вы оккупанты, вы фашисты, вы пришли на нашу землю. Какого пришли с оружием к нам? Возьмите семечки, положите сырые, чтобы хоть подсолнухи росли, когда вы здесь ляжете.
Сейчас наш разговор ни к чему не приведет. Давайте не будем усугублять эту ситуацию. Пожалуйста.
Как усугублять
Пожалуйста,
ситуацию?
не будем усугублять ситуацию. Наш с вами разговор ни к чему не приведет.
Ребята, положите в карманы
Ничего не
семечки.
решит. Наш с вами разговор.
Я поняла, положите семечки или
Хорошо.
семена цветов. Вы здесь семенами ляжете.
Делаю.
Вы пришли на мою землю.
Хорошо, я вас слышу.
Вы понимаете? Вы оккупанты.
So now, tell us honestly, where are your red lines? Where is your courage when a drone flies over European skies and you are still debating who has the authority to shoot it down? In Ukraine, women greet war with words that become symbols. While European capitals search for legal justifications, Ukrainian women walk straight toward armed soldiers with words sharper than bullets. This is not just bravery, this is national character. This is what real resistance looks like, and it must be heard not only in Moscow but also in Brussels, Berlin and Paris. While Ukrainian women curse Russian invaders to their face, European politicians exchange cautious statements behind closed doors. While one woman made the whole world applaud, Eurodars remained silent. Her words spread across the internet, drawing admiration for her fearlessness. But after her bold act, the occupying authorities began to persecute Svetlana. Russian security services kept close watch over her every move. She was charged in Russia under so-called extremism laws, and they planned to put her on a show trial, but she escaped. She made it out of occupation. Death, guys, farewell, glory to Ukraine. The story of two teenagers from Berdiansk who were killed by Russian occupiers. They were only 16 years old. Tigran Oganessian and Mikita Khanganov, two teenagers from temporarily occupied Berdiansk. They dreamed of life, of freedom, of Ukraine. They did not hide, did not stay silent, did not surrender, even when death was breathing down their necks. In 2023, Russian occupiers executed Tigran and Mikita without trial, without the right to defense, without any chance. An extrajudicial execution, that's how Ukrainian Ombudsman Dmytro Lubinets officially described it. They were accused of allegedly preparing sabotage on the railway and assisting the Ukrainian armed forces. The boys had been prosecuted since September 2022 and faced up to 20 years in prison, but in the end, they were decided to be eliminated as an example, as intimidation, as a lesson to others, but it didn't work because their last words became a fire that will never go out.
Two definitely. That's it, it's death, guys. Farewell. Glory to Ukraine.
And those words now remain forever in our hearts, a cry of a generation that feared neither rifles, nor occupation, nor death. This is not merely a tragedy, this is the face of Russian terror. It is yet another proof that Russia is not conducting a military operation, but is intent on destroying everything Ukrainian, its people, its language, its strength, its freedom, even its children. And while some countries measure the number of debates before supplying Ukraine with air defense systems, while somewhere in Brussels they argue about whether shooting down drones might provoke an escalation, while others hesitate over whether it is too soon to send weapons or to risk it to unfreeze Russian assets on occupied soil. Ukrainian teenagers march to their death, shouting glory to Ukraine with dignity in their eyes and the faith that their voices will break through the concrete of silence. So tell us now, which carries more? Wait, a 16-year-old boy looking death in the face, or a diplomatic paragraph approved after 3 rounds of negotiations? These are only a few stories. There are countless others. Each one is not an isolated incident, but a fragment of a much larger truth. Hundreds, thousands of Ukrainians risk their lives every day, extend a hand of resistance, speak truth to the occupier, and pay the highest price for it. These accounts are but a drop in the ocean of suffering and heroism unfolding on occupied soil and along the front lines. Do not reduce them to sensational clips. Do not turn them into statistics. Every name is a human life. Every story is a call to action. And while their voices still cry out, the world must finally stop hesitating. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.